Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? One of the things I've been consistent about this offseason is pointing out, I did this last year with Derek Carr, last 2 years with Derek Carr. Every quarterback ranking, every tier list, every PFF this or that, every front office personnel, anonymous coach. We talked about all of them. When they would talk about Derek Carr, they all had him in a, I would say lower middle tier, upper bottom tier. He was a 20s quarterback in the NFL. He was a starter. He was an NFL starter, but everyone who sort of expected him to be something after a decade in the NFL, which we had a large enough sample size to show what he was. Like, it's why it wasn't that I was just dogpiling on Derek Carr. I was just trying to lay out the very clear evidence from everybody outside of just blindly loyal fans telling you what this guy is. And so it's a similar thing here when we talk about the Saints. Like the Super Bowl odds right now for every team at DraftKings, the Bills. Do you realize the Bills have the best odds to win the Super Bowl? They're at plus 600.
I did not realize that, actually. Okay, wow.
The Bills and the Ravens both are at plus 600. The Eagles at plus 700. The Chiefs at 850. Lions at plus 1100. Commanders plus 1800. Anyway, dead last. Worst odds. The worst odds. Your New Orleans Saints plus 40,000. Plus 40,000. The New Orleans Saints have the worst odds of all 32 teams in the NFL to win the Super Bowl. ESPN came up with their list. They ranked every roster, 1 to 32. New Orleans Saints were dead last. By the way, right now at DraftKings, the team garnering the most action to win the fewest games, your New Orleans Saints. The Browns and the Saints have equal odds to finish with the worst record in the NFL, plus 400. But the Saints are getting 46% of the bets and 52% of the handle. That means 52% of the money is coming on the Saints to have the worst record in the NFL. The Browns have just 12% of the bets and 13% of the handle. There's still a contingent, and I want to be clear, it's August the 5th, and the Saints are about to play their first preseason game. And people are excited because the season's almost here. We're a little more than a month away from watching the Saints and the Cardinals in the Dome. They're going to put on actual uniforms, even if they're those hideous black helmets and those gaudy gold jerseys and the stupidity they keep doing because they can't get an alternate uniform right. They're going to play real football, and you should be excited about it anytime you have the opportunity to watch your team play. The thing that I am trying to illustrate in doing this is just managing a realistic expectation. I'm promising you this. I promise you. Murray, mark the tape, okay, Murray?
Murray, present.
I want you to mark the tape. You got your pen?
Got the pen.
All right. What are you marking? What are you actually writing down?
I was going to write down the date and the time that you said whatever you're about to say.
I am not going to yell and scream about a Saints result this year. Okay? It's my promise to you. Now, Kellen Moore does some dumb-ish. I might yell about him doing some dumb-ish. Okay, is that fair?
That's fair.
Like a specific decision or something like that. But my expectations for this team as far as a win-loss record are nil. They are not winning the division. They are not going to the playoffs. I think their ceiling, everything breaks their way. I think their ceiling is 7. Ceiling. They're probably a 4 or 5 win team. By the way, I picked them last year 5-12. They went 5-12. Nailed the number. I just look at this team as what they are. But my hope for this Saints season, I honestly believe, despite the fact that they're not going to be good, I think I'm going to enjoy this Saints season more than any season since 2018, the bike life, the number 1 seed NFC championship game until the Nola no call. You want to know why?
Yeah, I do want to know why,
Okay.
actually.
That season was so much fun, right? Teddy Bridgewater, the locker room post-game parties, the bike life, the number 1 seed. Such a fun year. Such a fun team, Choppa style, everything. Nola no call happened, and it was atrocious. But after Nola no call, we all knew the clock was ticking on Drew Brees' career. And every Sunday for me and a lot of Saints fans, there was so much angst wrapped into every game because you knew the clock was ticking on this era with Brees. Like, every year could have been his last year in the league, and they were chasing one more title under him. And so when you got Nola no called and it was brutal, then you went into 2019 and then you lose to the Vikings with the Kyle Rudolph push-off, and then you go into 2020, which ends up being Drew's last season, and you beat the Bears, and then you have the hideous loss to Tampa Bay, a team you had already beaten twice. It was just, there was so much angst. It was hard to enjoy it. Does that make sense? It was hard to enjoy the wins. It felt more like an exhalation because you were just trying to get to the top of the mountain one more time with Drew, and you were all in to do it. And you didn't get there, and that sucked. And since then, you've had a general manager who, in my opinion, has made errant decisions in continuing to try to chase a title when that window closed. Turns out I was right and Gumsmack and Mick was wrong. But Grandma Gail has continued to make sure that Gumsmack and Mick has been gainfully employed, despite the fact that he's ran the organization right into the ground where they are right now. But despite his best efforts to not enter a full-on rebuild, that's where you are. And I'm okay with that. It's where I think they should have been 2 years ago instead of signing Derek Carr. I was okay trying it with Jameis. At that point, you should have moved on. Anyway, I am excited about this season because this is the opportunity to see if you can lay the foundation for what the next contender will be. You drafted 9 players. You've got 2 good young offensive tackles. Like, we may look at what Sean Payton does in Denver this year and have a little bit of angst, right? I mean, it'll be a little bit of longing. I mean, if he found his quarterback and they're in the playoffs again and they're making a push toward a potential championship, maybe they're challenging the Chiefs in that division. But do you remember what picks, like what the Saints turned the picks from the Payton trade, what players they turned those picks into? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
So remember, they got the Sean Payton trade with Denver. They drafted Brian Brzee, and then they used the second-round pick to move up to get Kool-Aid McKinstry. So, like, I want to see if Brian Brzee's ready to be a legit starter in the NFL. We haven't talked a lick about him in this camp. Is Kool-Aid McKinstry ready to be a legit number 1 corner? What about at safety? Like, you drafted Jonas Sanker. Can he be a guy for you? Is Alontae Taylor going to be a starter? Is Danny Stutsman the heir apparent to Demario Davis? Like, those are exciting things. It's a reframed conversation. It's a different conversation than, what's the 53rd guy to make the roster, because that could be the little bitty marginal difference that helps you win a championship. Like, we're not having that conversation. It's just a completely new convo about, are you laying the foundation with starting caliber players that you drafted that can build a foundation upon which then you can go draft other players and add, as you reset your cap, add key veterans via free agency to see if you can go win a championship. Like, that's exciting. The rebuild is exciting, building towards something new. The result this year isn't going to be fun, losing a whole bunch of games, but learning what you have in these young players is exciting. And that's just how I'm looking forward to this season. And I would advise you to do the same. Because if you go into every Sunday that the Saints play expecting them to win, because, by the way, ever since 2006, I guess we could probably say 2009, because 7 and 8 weren't very good years. But ever since 2009, every Sunday we expected the New Orleans Saints to win. Not to say that that was realistic that they were going to win, but every time you sat down and watched the team play, you expected they were going to win the game. certainly thought they could win the game. That's not the case at all this year. They're going to lose a ton. They're going to lose way more than they win. And I'm okay with it. Not that I'm okay losing, but I understand this year isn't about the win-loss record. This is about building the foundation for your future. And I'm actually looking forward to it.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.